60 years since I studied it. But I think the simplest thing is to have the finances of countries, the central bank, run by government. And I know that that's not maybe the best way to do it, but you certainly don't want the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers running the banking system. And you know, it used to be prudent for the last 1,500 to 2,000 years that the money changer or the gold merchant or the banker would lend out 9 times their deposits. And they believed that in normal times that was a safe thing to do. Well, today we just had, over the last 6-7 years, these lenders, at the behest of those 2 institutions, lending out 70 times their deposit base, which is insanity.
Money that never existed
believe me,
in the first place, yeah.
they all knew what they were doing, believe me.
Yeah.
And they did that to deliberately destroy the system. We can't allow that to happen again.
Yeah. Well, they have to clear out the old system, the old world order, and destroy the functionality of a working system, which is based on debt. And they knew that it would have to crash at some point anyway, and why not control it themselves, that actual crash? It wouldn't be the first time they pulled it. 1929, J.P. Morgan, in the 80s recession. But this is the big one. And this is a complete clean-out, a complete raping of society for a new global government, one world currency to exist. But it's a tyrannical one, it's a murderous one. And what hope do you have of stopping this insanity, at base level?
I think in America that we got a shot at it here in November. They're having elections. If the Americans are sensible and vote out the incumbents, almost all of them, we'll have virtually a clean slate of people who have not been infected by the money, not having been purchased by the powers behind government, the people we discussed earlier in the program. And that's going to take them, the people behind government, 6 months to maybe 2 years to convince these people who have just taken office that they should become the villains that they replaced. And I don't think they're going to have a lot of success like they have in the past, because the public in America, and throughout the world, mind you, because we have subscribers all over the world, they say, no, if we can do that, we're going to change things dramatically. So it's a key stepping stone. And, of course, every country is beset with leadership today that is controlled by these different groups. And sum it up, I call them the Illuminati. And so they have to be removed from government and removed from power over government by changing the laws. And unfortunately, if that is not accomplished, not only in America, but in England and Greece, I'm going to be on a documentary in Greece tomorrow on television, and if this cannot be accomplished, the only way out for people is revolution, country by country. And you don't want to see that because it'll be horrible.
Yes. Do you think that's what the elite are pushing people for, while they're pushing the people against the wall so much and taxing them to the hilt and taking their houses and their children, so people just do say it's enough and bring in martial law?
Well, I think that's so. They do want that, but they're also going to create a third world war, which should start very shortly. And that is to distract people and have people more worried about whether they're going to live or die, as opposed to whether they have a house or stocks or anything of value whatsoever. And this is what they've done historically over and over and over again, trying to create this world government. They've never been successful, And this time we have the communications to get to people who, if they just listen to one or two programs, never mind every day, they can say to themselves, gee, that's what I heard on that program, and those people were telling the truth, and I know who the bad guys are.
Yeah.
And so the bad guys are not going to be able to get the American or the British or the Greek or the Russian or Chinese military to go around indiscriminately shooting people. It's not going to happen because they're citizens of that country too. And they're going to wonder because they listen to these programs. I specifically, for the last 5 years, have done a military program which not only reaches American active and retired personnel, but also foreign troops as well. And we know that because we have the IMs coming in and we have phone calls coming in from all over the world. In fact, I get more information from that group than I do from anybody else because they come right in and tell you what's going on. And, of course, if they get caught, they get court-martialed, but the chances of getting caught are very small. But the point is, this is the direction this thing is headed. And that's what history tells us.
I see. The Israeli Air Force has landed at a Saudi base. The U.S. troops are near the Iran border. In the run-up to the Iraq invasion, there was cries of weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction were heard. And the reason for attack was drummed into the U.S. people, which of course turned out to be false. And any scientist who broke the official line and, God forbid, told the truth ended up dead. This time they seem to be a little more covert about it. Have they run out of excuses to invade countries?
Yeah, I think they did a long time ago. And the last incursions into Iraq, followed by Iraq again and Afghanistan, all the troops are saying, hey, what are we doing here? Why do we come and do this? Whether it's in Iraq or Afghanistan or Iraq before, these are make-believe wars. They're distractions. And there's going to be another one for that reason also to get rid of population. Whether it'll go nuclear or not remains to be seen, but my guess is the answer is yes. And if Iran is attacked, they have treaties with Russia and China, and we could have one heck of a war which nobody is going to escape damage and death from. You'd have to live in the jungles of Brazil to maybe miss getting blown up. Yeah, this is going to be horrible. But this is what these people have got planned.
Well, you could say that the war has been ongoing for some time against humanity itself. This, like Alan Watt says, and I quote Alan Watt quite a bit, he says that this war on terror is a war of terror, with the chemtrails reducing our immune systems and everything. But getting back to what you were saying about the local states and solutions to how to change this system, politician by politician, we have a question from Kev, the guy that came up with this website, freemanireland.ning.com, and he wants me to ask you what do you think about the Rod Blagojevich? Yeah, I think I got that right. Blagojevich. Are more governors in America going to follow suit, trying to take back their states? That's something that Alex Jones talks about. That's one of his many solutions.
Well, I think you're seeing a major movement in that direction. And I've been off and on with Alex for about 10 years. And I'm on every Friday with him.
I know.
And
I always listen.
Yes, and Alex is correct. Alex is extraordinarily bright and very fearless. And
he's a great man.
Is part of the solution in the United States, is under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, exercising state rights, which essentially just says very simply, all powers not enumerated and given to the federal government belong to the states. And of course, those rights have been usurped for 150 years. And now the states are saying, hey, we want them back.
The sheriff is very important in this game. He can kick the federal authorities out of his state. He's very powerful, but they've weakified him. They've neutralized the job of the sheriff. And so they actually believe, most sheriffs believe they're not that powerful, but they certainly are, I think.
Well, I agree.